Silence isn't just the absence of noise. It's something far more powerful and far more overlooked. In today's world, silence is rare. We fill our lives with constant sound, conversations, notifications, music, podcasts, videos, background, noise that never seems to end. But what if that silence we've learned to avoid holds one of the most underestimated tools for improving the human brain? Modern neuroscience is starting to uncover something extraordinary. Silence doesn't just calm you down. It literally changes the structure and function of your brain. It repairs, it strengthens, it sharpens, in ways that are both surprising and incredibly useful. To understand what silence does, we first have to understand what noise does. Chronic noise, especially the kind that we can't control, activates the brain's stress response. Traffic, construction, crowds, overlapping conversations. These all stimulate your amygdala, the part of your brain responsible for detecting threats. Over time, repeated exposure to unpredictable or intrusive sounds keeps your nervous system in a subtle, continuous state of alert. You may not consciously feel stressed, but your brain is burning energy monitoring your environment, scanning for danger, staying ready to react. This drains mental focus, reduces memory performance, and increases irritability. Long-term exposure to noise pollution has even been linked to cognitive decline and sleep disruption. But here's where it gets fascinating. Silence doesn't just reduce stress. It actively stimulates brain growth. In a groundbreaking study from 2013, researchers at Duke University observed that 2 hours of silence per day led to the development of new cells in the hippocampus, a brain region associated with learning, memory, and emotion regulation. The silence didn't just calm the subjects down. It actually seemed to repair the brain. This might seem counterintuitive. We usually think of stimulation, like learning or exercise, as the drivers of brain growth. But silence plays a different, complementary role. Think of your mind like a muscle. Just as muscles need rest to grow stronger, the brain needs silence to consolidate, to recover, to reorganize. Silence creates the mental space needed for processing, integration, and reflection. Without it, the noise of the world floods your attention and leaves little room for deeper awareness. There's also something unique about the way silence influences attention. In a world where everything is trying to capture your focus, silence returns that focus to you. It gives you back control. When the noise stops, you begin to hear your own thoughts, not just the ones playing on the surface, but the ones underneath. The quiet ones, the truths you've been avoiding, the questions you haven't asked. Silence doesn't just reduce external distraction. It confronts internal distraction. This is one reason why so many people find silence uncomfortable. It's not that silence is boring, it's that it's revealing. Without the buffer of sound, you start to notice the clutter in your own mind, the overthinking, the emotional noise, the loops of regret, worry, or self-judgment that often go unnoticed until everything else gets quiet. That's why practices like meditation and mindfulness, which often emphasize silence or stillness, can feel difficult at first. But it's also why they're so effective. They allow you to observe what's really happening inside, without escaping. The brain, when left alone with itself in silence, becomes a mirror. And like any mirror, what it reflects may not always be easy to face, but it's always useful. Now, silence isn't about doing nothing. It's about giving your brain space to do its own work. When you sit in silence, even for just a few minutes, your brain enters what neuroscientists call the default mode network. This is the mode your brain shifts into when you're not focused on a task. It's when you daydream, reflect on the past, imagine the future, or explore abstract ideas. This network plays a key role in creativity, self-awareness, and moral reasoning. But it only activates when you stop bombarding your brain with information. If you're constantly distracted, always consuming, always reacting, you never give the default mode network time to do its job. You become efficient at responding, but less capable of introspection. You get better at scrolling, but worse at thinking. That's not just a lifestyle issue, it's a neurological one. So what does all of this mean, practically? It means that silence is not a luxury. It's not something to be squeezed in when you have nothing else to do. It's a cognitive necessity. It's how the brain breathes. Just like your body needs sleep to function, your mind needs silence to recover and grow. The problem is, silence doesn't come naturally anymore. We have to create it. We have to protect it. That might mean turning off the music on your walk instead of defaulting to a podcast. It might mean starting your day with 5 minutes of intentional stillness before picking up your phone. It might mean closing your eyes during a noisy commute and simply breathing into the quietest corner of your awareness. These moments of silence don't have to be long to be effective. Even 2 minutes of silence can lower blood pressure, slow your heart rate, and relax muscle tension. 10 minutes of silence can reduce stress and increase clarity. Over time, regular silence becomes more than a break. It becomes a mental reset. And silence doesn't have to mean total absence of sound. It can also mean mental silence, the absence of digital noise, of opinion, of judgment. Sometimes, sitting quietly in a room isn't enough. You also have to shut off the internal dialogue that's constantly trying to narrate everything. This is where breath, mindfulness, or even journaling can be powerful tools. They help bring your attention back to the present moment, where silence actually lives. The more you invite silence into your life, the more your brain begins to reorganize itself around it. You become less reactive, more centered, more creative. You begin to hear your intuition more clearly. You think more deeply. You feel more grounded in your experience of life, not just rushing through it, but actually inhabiting it. In a world that rewards speed, noise, and constant visibility, silence is an act of rebellion. But it's also an act of self-preservation. It's how we reconnect with our thoughts, our emotions, and our values. It's how we reclaim attention from the thousands of things trying to steal it every day. So if your mind feels cluttered, distracted, exhausted, don't just add something new. Subtract the noise. Seek out the silence. Sit with it. Listen to it. You may be surprised by what it teaches you. Because silence doesn't just quiet the world, it rewires the brain. And in that quiet, something powerful begins to grow.